So, Black Desert Online, it's an MMORPG that I had a really great time with for the first month of its release, and it's the only MMO that I've played since World of Warcraft that actually managed to suck me in and make me not want to leave the house. It's recently been announced that this game's basically going pay to win. The whole Black Desert community are pissed, people are quitting left, right and centre, and rightly so. Before we talk about the specifics of how this game's going pay to win, let me just give those of you that have never played this game before a bit of a backstory about Black Desert Online. Initially, this game was released in Korea in 2014 as a free-to-play game, and later announced that it would be coming to the West on March the 3rd, 2016. There was a crazy amount of hype for this game as it had amazing action combat and beautiful graphics. The only concern Western players had about this game was that it would turn pay-to-win like the Korean servers. Players begged the Western publishers Kakao Games to give this version of Black Desert a different business model to its Korean version in the hopes to avoid the game being pay to win. Kakao Games listened and made the game buy to play, whilst also offering a bunch of pre-order packages ranging from about $30 to $100. Around this time, Kakao Games said in various interviews that they're strongly against pay to win games, but totally in favour of pay for convenience. They also said they wouldn't offer a monthly premium subscription for extra benefits like in other MMOs. At the time, this was exactly what everyone wanted to hear. Thousands of people bought the game because it seemed like it wouldn't be pay to win, and the main complaints about the business model were mostly aimed at the stupidly expensive costumes that were on the cash shop, which gave you a few minor stat boosts, as well as the cash shop only pets that would loot for you. Some people considered these things pay to win whilst others did not. Regardless, they didn't have a huge impact on the game. As time went on, more and more people left Black Desert, including myself. The main reasons people left were due to the endless grindy nature of the game, the cancerous RNG gear upgrade system, and the cash shop convenience items feeling too convenient and making people spend way too much money. Eventually the game got to the point where most of the casual players that bought the game due to the hype from the launch had left, leaving Black Desert with a smaller, more hardcore and dedicated community. The problem with this though was that due to the game being buy to play, there wasn't many new players giving it a try. This also had a lot to do with the fact that reviews for this game were very mixed. Some people loved it, other people hated it. With less new players joining Black Desert, a few weeks ago, Kakao Games decided they weren't making enough money, and that it was time to go back on one of their promises of not implementing a premium subscription service into the game. In comes the value pack. For $15 a month, players get a vast amount of rewards, some of which are just convenience, and others which are rather pay to win, such as 30% reduced tax on items sold on the marketplace. In a game which is based entirely on earning as much money as possible to upgrade your gear, that's a pretty fucking huge and mandatory advantage for anyone that plays this game competitively. At this point, you'd probably think to yourself, okay, the publishers have already milked the community enough, it's surely not going to get worse than the value pack. After all, this was a buy-to-play game which sold extremely well and made millions of dollars at launch, and with the new premium service and abundance of overpriced items on the cash shop, they're surely making a big enough profit now, and this is where you'd be wrong. Less than 3 weeks after implementing the value pack into the game, Kakao Games announced they'll soon be giving players the option to sell items they've purchased from the cash shop for real money on the marketplace in exchange for in-game currency that can be used to buy power. Essentially meaning the Western version of Black Desert will be just as pay to win as the Korean version, with the only difference being our version is buy to play and the Korean version is free to play. It blows my mind that a company has the audacity to lie to its player base and take the piss as much as this one. They've made promises in the past that the game wouldn't go pay to win, which directly impacted sales for the game, yet less than 6 months later they've done a U-turn on everything they've said. Surely this falls under false advertising. You can't manipulate people into buying your game by making false promises only to go back on what you've said later. Currently, the whole Black Desert community is protesting, but I highly doubt that it'll change anything. Kakao Games and Pearl Abyss have already proven that as developers and publishers they can't be trusted, and even if they do revert the changes, why would you want to continue to play a game that's designed purely to extract as much money out of you as possible? Black Desert going pay to win doesn't just affect the BDO community though, it affects everyone that's part of the MMORPG genre as a whole, publishers, developers and players. Publishers may look at how much money Black Desert has made and incorporate similar manipulative business strategies into their future MMO releases. Developers could look at how Black Desert's endless grind and RNG upgrade system pushed players to the cash shop to buy more convenience items than they normally would. And MMO players will just look at this as yet another example of a company fucking its player base over, regardless of promises they've made in the past or the overwhelming feedback from the community. As someone that's made a lot of MMORPG content on YouTube, it's things like this that makes me wonder, why the fuck do I bother? I want my channel to be pro-consumer. People come to me for advice as to what MMO they should invest their time into. How can I recommend anything other than the already popular MMOs such as World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, WildStar or Final Fantasy XIV, all games that have already proven themselves to not go pay to win, and then suggest something from a publisher that hasn't proven themselves to be committed to making a fair business model, whilst still being a pro-consumer content creator. I can't, because there's always that risk you'll be sucked into another game that looks really good initially, only to fuck you over and go full pay to win once they've made enough money from the hype of the game's launch. This is a big problem because when content creators are hesitant on recommending new games based on shady business practices from other companies in the past, and not knowing how a game's business model will change over time, then no one wins except the games that are already popular and established. People will just stick to games such as World of Warcraft because it's safe, and based on Blizzard's history, it's highly unlikely that it'll go pay to win. With less people being open to trying new games, smaller developers that genuinely want to make a fair and fun MMO won't get as many people trying their game due to a lack of player trust caused by being burned by games in the past. An analogy for this would be having a bunch of different relationships, but after a certain amount of time, every person you've been with decides to cheat on you. This would either cause you to give up on the idea of future relationships, or leave you with serious trust issues causing you to settle for someone you consider safe, but not someone you're necessarily in love with. I do have a habit of making awful analogies on my channel, I do apologise, but I hope it makes sense. So what can the community actually do to stop publishers making new MMORPGs go pay to win? Well, there's really only one thing you can do, but it requires a large majority of people to band together and just say, fuck this. Boycott these games, don't play them, don't spend your money on them, and as a whole make it overwhelmingly clear to these greedy bastards in charge that until you treat the player base of your game with the respect they deserve, then you're not going to make any money. If the MMO community actually did this, then eventually I think we'd see a change in attitude from publishers towards the Western market. We need to make it clear to them that making a game go pay to win is essentially suicide, and they'll lose more money in the long run than just sticking with something that's fair for everyone. If you want to help the Black Desert community fight against their game going pay to win, then sign the change.org petition in the description below, even if you've never played the game. I highly doubt it will actually do anything because change.org petitions are usually pretty useless, but it's a good way of showing support for something, I suppose. I think it'll be interesting if, despite the overwhelmingly negative reaction to the game going pay to win, they still decide to go through with it. At that point, it kinda suggests that the game was intended to be a cash grab all along, and hopefully people can learn from it. Currently there's a ton of organised protests going on in game, guilds have changed their logo to show a cross over the top of the words pay to win, and I haven't actually seen one person that's in favour of these changes. Like I've said in the past, once a game's branded as pay to win, its days are numbered, but I just hope we can make a difference for the people who have invested thousands of hours into Black Desert. So just to wrap this video up, fuck Kakao Games and Pearl Abyss. Black Desert Online had the potential to be one of the best MMORPGs ever made. All it would take is a few changes and a fair business model to make it great, but as always, these corporate assholes in charge are only concerned with one thing: money and milking gamers for as much as they can get. But as they say, money talks, so if you don't like pay to win games, the only way to stop them existing is to stop spending money on them. If enough people boycott this shit, then maybe we'll start to see some actual change, but until then I don't think Kakao Games or Pearl Abyss really care about a few hundred people complaining on the forums if it means they'll be making more money. I'm sure this video is going to get a ton of dislikes because the Black Desert community hates me from my Why I Quit Black Desert video, but I wanted to make this discussion because I feel it's important to everyone that plays MMORPG games, and it's one of the reasons I'm sick and tired of the whole genre in general. If you did enjoy this video or agree with what I said, then I'd appreciate it a lot if you gave this video a like. Thanks for watching, you take it easy, and I'll see you again really soon.
Let me open up like this a door knocker. Show you how I lay it down, boy, so proper. No scallop or much class. A gem found under your nose like a mustache. My pen splash. Equivalent of a benzo. Hem class. So far my wardrobe come a jet lag.
Okay, I guess we're ready.